It began with a whisper in the data, a fleeting pulse that flickered across the screens of observatories scattered from the volcanic peaks of Hawaii to the star-dusted plains of South Africa. A shadow, cold and swift, sliced through the cosmic void, defying every known law of motion. Telescopes swiveled, their unblinking eyes locking onto an anomaly that refused to conform to the silent rhythms of the solar system. NASA's confirmation came swiftly, a terse announcement that sent ripples through the scientific world. An object, uncharted, unbound by the gravitational leash of our star, had breached the heliosphere. It was not born of our sun's ancient debris, nor tethered to the familiar orbits of comets or asteroids. Its origin lay beyond, in the uncharted abyss of interstellar space, possibly from the churning heart of the Milky Way itself. At first, it was dismissed as just another celestial wanderer, a lump of rock or ice adrift in the cosmic sea. But within hours, the data painted a different picture, one that made hearts race and palms sweat. Its speed was relentless, clocking over 152,000 miles per hour, far too fast for a mere asteroid. Its trajectory was unnervingly precise, cutting a path that seemed engineered rather than accidental. And its surface gleamed with a brightness that defied logic, reflecting light in ways no natural object should. Scientists traced its arc backward through time, their simulations revealing a chilling truth. This intruder had been traveling for tens of thousands of years, perhaps longer, through the desolate reaches of space, only to arrive now, at this exact moment in human history. The question wasn't just where it came from, it was why now. The object, officially designated 3-hour Atlas by the global astronomical community, was first detected between June 25th and June 29th, 2025, by the Atlas system, a network of telescopes designed to hunt for near-Earth threats before they could catch humanity off guard. But this was no ordinary asteroid. Unlike the predictable wanderers of the inner solar system or the icy nomads of the Oort cloud, 3I Atlas followed no familiar path. Its orbit was an anomaly, a sharp, deliberate line that suggested it answered to no known gravitational force. When astronomers modeled its trajectory, they found no connection to the Kuiper Belt, no trace of Neptune's influence, no echo of the solar system's formation. Instead, its path pointed outward, far beyond the heliopause to a realm where stars are born and die in silence. This was no relic of our cosmic neighborhood. It was a stranger, forged in a place humanity had only glimpsed through equations and dreams. The realization sent a shiver through the scientific community, a collective pause as researchers grappled with the implications. Before 2017, no interstellar object had ever been detected. Now, in less than a decade, 3 had crossed our threshold, each stranger than the last, each peeling back another layer of our ignorance about the universe. The discovery electrified the global scientific effort, and all eyes turned to the most powerful instrument humanity had ever built, the James Webb Space Telescope. Designed to pierce the veil of cosmic time, to capture light from the universe's infancy, Webb was now redirected from its distant galactic surveys to focus on something far closer and infinitely more unsettling. The data it returned was staggering. The object's brightness was inconsistent with its size. Based on its albedo, the intensity of light it reflected suggested a massive structure, yet its measured dimensions were surprisingly small. This discrepancy pointed to a surface that wasn't behaving like rock or ice. It was behaving like metal, polished and cold, possibly even hollow. The implications were staggering. A natural object shouldn't reflect like a mirror, nor move with such eerie precision. At Harvard, one astrophysicist, known for his bold theories about the 2017 object Oumuamua, stepped forward once more. He urged his colleagues to search for non-gravitational acceleration, subtle deviations in the object's motion that couldn't be explained by the sun's pull alone. Such anomalies, he argued, could suggest something far more profound than a drifting rock. They could indicate intent. They could indicate navigation. They could mean that what humanity was observing wasn't a passive visitor, but a deliberate presence, one that had chosen its path through our solar system with purpose. To grasp the weight of this moment, one must look to the two interstellar objects that preceded 3I on Atlas. In 2017, Oumuamua tore through the scientific world like a lightning bolt. Its elongated, cigar-like shape baffled astronomers, as did its lack of a comet-like tail despite its close pass by the sun. Most perplexing was its acceleration as it departed, a subtle but undeniable push that couldn't be explained by outgassing or solar radiation. No gas, no dust, no visible propulsion, yet it sped up as if nudged by an unseen hand. Then in 2019, Comet Borisov arrived, a more traditional interstellar visitor, but one that burned with an intensity and volatility unlike any local comet. Its speed and composition hinted at a chemistry born in alien stellar nurseries, far from our sun's influence. Both objects left scientists with more questions than answers, their fleeting visits exposing the limits of human understanding. But 3I Atlas was different. It combined the inexplicable brightness of Oumuamua with the razor-sharp trajectory of Borisov, defying categorization as either asteroid or comet. Its surface gleamed with an unnatural luster, its path cut through the solar system with surgical precision, and its timing, arriving just as humanity's observational tools reached unprecedented heights, felt almost too perfect to be chance. Astronomers began to whisper of a pattern, a sequence of events that suggested these objects weren't isolated incidents, but part of a larger, deliberate wave. For centuries, the skies had been silent. Now they were speaking, and the only thing that had changed was us. Beneath the avalanche of data, spectral analyses, trajectory models, and light curves, lurked a question too profound, too terrifying for most to voice aloud. What if this object wasn't natural? Strip away the impossible, its blinding reflectivity, its unyielding speed, its defiance of gravitational norms, and what remained was a possibility that chilled the blood. Artificiality. Not the cartoonish aliens of Hollywood, not saucers or little green men, but something far more plausible and infinitely more unsettling. A probe, a machine, a relic of a civilization so advanced it could send emissaries across the gulfs of interstellar space. Such a machine wouldn't need to broadcast signals or wave a flag. Its presence alone would be its message, a silent declaration that someone, somewhere had built it and sent it forth. The astrophysicist who had dared to propose artificiality for Oumuamua now argued that 3I Atlas might be humanity's second chance to recognize a signal we had missed before. Its surface, its motion, its very existence screamed intentionality, or at the very least engineering beyond our comprehension. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most advanced eye, was now locked onto this enigma, scanning its thermal emissions, its spin, its every move. But the answers it sought might not reveal what the object was, but who had sent it. In a universe 13.8 billion years old, the most terrifying discovery wouldn't be that we were alone. It would be that we had been watched all along, our every step observed by eyes we were only now learning to see. As days turned to weeks, the data streaming from Webb and its ground-based counterparts painted an ever more disturbing picture. The object was accelerating, not dramatically, but enough to defy the predictions of orbital mechanics. This wasn't the chaotic outgassing of a comet, nor the gentle push of solar radiation pressure. There was no tail, no plume of particles, no detectable emissions to explain the shift. Yet the object adjusted its course with a precision that seemed almost deliberate, slipping past projected path like a dancer threading a needle. Webb's infrared sensors revealed a thermal signature that was stable, patterned, and eerily consistent. Not the erratic heat of a tumbling ice ball, but the controlled glow of something designed. The anomaly mirrored the unexplained acceleration of Oumuamua. But this time, the scientific community didn't dismiss it. They measured it, tracked it, and began to fear it. For the first time, internal memos circulated among researchers, their language cautious but laced with urgency. Words like control and intent crept into discussions, whispered in the sterile halls of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and the European Southern Observatory. The possibility was no longer unthinkable. Humanity might not be the observer in this cosmic dance. It might be the observed. The spectral analysis conducted by Webb's team only deepened the mystery. Scientists expected to find the familiar signatures of celestial debris, silicates, iron, perhaps water ice. Instead, they found something that didn't belong. Absorption lines hinted at advanced carbon structures, materials more akin to engineered composites than the rough geology of asteroids. The object's surface was unnaturally reflective, its albedo suggesting a polish that nature rarely achieved. Even more baffling, its spin showed hints of symmetry, a balance that random cosmic debris almost never exhibited. One side absorbed more heat than the other, as if designed to regulate temperature or harness energy. Fluctuations in electromagnetic readings suggested internal complexity, cavities perhaps, or layers of varying density. This wasn't a monolithic chunk of rock. It was intricate, purposeful, possibly even functional. The implications were staggering, and they rippled far beyond the scientific community. From NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory to the classified briefings of national defense agencies, a single question began to dominate. If nature didn't craft this object, who did? As public fascination grew, a strange silence descended. Agencies that had initially shared trajectory data and light curves, NASA, ESA, India's ISRO, began to pull back. Mission updates ceased. Observational schedules vanished from public websites. Requests for raw data from Webb were met with denials, citing ongoing internal reviews. Freedom of Information Act requests returned documents so heavily redacted they were little more than black ink. Whispers leaked from within observatories, researchers reassigned, telescope access restricted, entire teams pulled from the project without explanation. The public, once fed a steady stream of curiosity fueling updates, now faced a wall of bureaucratic opacity. Something had changed and the shift was palpable. Astrophysicists in private forums began to speculate that a discovery had been made. Something so extraordinary that governments were scrambling not just to understand it, but to control the narrative. In the realm of science, truth is often the first casualty when discoveries cross into the territory of national security. And this object, with its impossible properties and unnerving behavior, had crossed that line. The silence only fueled speculation. If 3II Atlas was artificial, it implied a civilization far older and more advanced than our own, one capable of crafting machines that could endure millennia in the harsh vacuum of space. Such a civilization wouldn't need to announce itself with fanfare. Its probes could drift silently, observing, collecting, perhaps even deciding. The object's arrival, perfectly timed with humanity's leap into advanced telescopic observation, felt almost too perfect to be coincidence. It felt like a test. Had we reached a threshold, a point where our technology was sophisticated enough to detect what had always been there? For billions of years, the cosmos had been silent, its signals, if they existed, falling on deaf ears. But now, as artificial intelligence surged, quantum computing took root, and humanity stretched its gaze beyond Mars, something had appeared. Quiet, precise, and impossibly intriguing, it had drawn the attention of our greatest telescope, pulling Webb away from its deep space mission to focus on a visitor in our own backyard. The question was no longer whether we would find something out there. It was whether something had already found us. The James Webb Space Telescope, a marvel of human ingenuity, was built to unravel the universe's deepest secrets, to trace the birth of stars, to map the edges of galaxies, to peer back to the dawn of time. But now it had turned its gaze inward, toward an object that defied every expectation. This wasn't a distant quasar or a primordial galaxy. It was here now, gliding through our solar system with a precision that mocked our understanding of physics. Its surface gleamed too brightly, its path cut too cleanly, its timing landed too perfectly. The data suggested something more than a random rock. It suggested intent, design, perhaps even awareness. As scientists pored over the numbers, a new realization began to take hold. This was no longer just an astronomical event. It was an inflection point, a moment that forced humanity to confront its place in the cosmic order. Were we alone? Had we ever been? Or had we simply been too primitive to notice the silent watchers passing through our skies? The deeper researchers dug, the more unsettling the findings became. The object's thermal emissions, captured by Webb's infrared sensors, showed patterns that hinted at internal activity. Not the chaotic heat of a natural body, but a controlled, almost mechanical rhythm. Its spin was too precise, its reflectivity too uniform, its trajectory too adaptive. In private discussions, scientists began to entertain ideas once relegated to science fiction. Could this be a relic of a long-dead civilization? A probe sent to explore the galaxy when humanity's ancestors were still mastering fire? Or was it something active, something still operational, watching us as we watched it? The possibility of artificiality wasn't just a hypothesis, it was a paradigm shift. If 3i Atlas was a machine, its creators had mastered technologies humanity could only dream of. Propulsion systems that left no trace, materials that withstood eons of cosmic radiation, designs that mimic the chaos of nature while hiding their true purpose. The alternative was equally staggering. If this was natural, it represented a phenomenon so rare, so advanced, that it mimicked design to the point of deception. Either way, the conclusion was inescapable. Our understanding of the universe was incomplete, and 3i Atlas was a mirror reflecting that ignorance back at us. The public, sensing the shift in tone from excitement to secrecy, began to demand answers. Social media buzzed with speculation, from wild theories of alien armadas to sober discussions of astrophysical anomalies. The object's discovery had ignited a global conversation, but the lack of transparency only deepened the unease. Why were agencies pulling back? What had they found that couldn't be shared? Some argued it was a matter of caution, a need to verify data before making bold claims. Others saw a more troubling motive: control. In a world where information was power, a discovery of this magnitude could upend scientific, political, and even philosophical frameworks. If 3i Atlas was artificial, it would force humanity to rewrite its history, its science, and its sense of self. If it was natural, it would reveal a universe far stranger and more complex than anyone had imagined. The stakes were no longer just scientific, they were existential. As the object continued its silent journey through the solar system, its presence became a catalyst for introspection. Scientists, philosophers, and ordinary people alike began to grapple with the implications. If this was a probe, what did its creators want? Were they observing our technology, our culture, our very existence? Or was this a relic, a forgotten artifact from a civilization that had long since vanished into the cosmic dark? The timing of its arrival gnawed at researchers. Humanity had only recently developed the tools to detect such objects. Webb's infrared precision, Atlas's rapid scans, the global network of telescopes now capable of tracking anomalies in real time. Was this a coincidence, or had the object been waiting for us to catch up? The idea of a cosmic test lingered in the minds of those who studied the data. Perhaps 3i Atlas was not an accident, but a deliberate signal, a marker left by a civilization that wanted to know if we were ready. Ready for what? No one could say. But the question hung heavy in the air. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's greatest eye into the cosmos, had been built to answer questions about the universe's origins. Instead, it had found something that challenged the very notion of origins, not of stars or galaxies, but of us. The object's presence was a mirror, reflecting not just light but our deepest fears and hopes. Were we alone? Had we ever been? Or had we simply been too blind to see the signs? The data from Webb continued to pour in, each new measurement adding to the enigma. The object's surface, its motion, its very existence defied explanation, yet it demanded attention. It was too perfect to be random, too silent to be ordinary, too timely to be coincidence. As humanity stood on the precipice of a new era, one truth became clear. We had entered a phase of cosmic awareness where our telescopes didn't just reveal stars, they revealed how little we knew. And perhaps, just perhaps, they revealed that someone else had known us all along. The object's journey through our solar system was far from over, but its impact was already profound. It had forced humanity to confront the possibility that we were not the sole architects of our destiny, that the universe might be far more crowded, far more watchful than we had ever dared to imagine. Whether artificial or natural, 3i 1i Atlas was a wake-up call, a reminder that the cosmos was not a passive backdrop, but an active stage, one where humanity might no longer be the only player. The James Webb Space Telescope, with its unyielding gaze, had peeled back a layer of the universe's mystery, only to reveal a deeper one beneath. This was not a warning nor a threat, but a question that demanded an answer, not in words but in action. What would humanity do next? Would we rise to the challenge or shrink from it? The object, silent and gleaming, offered no answers. It simply moved forward, its path a challenge, its presence a test. And as it slipped through the cosmic night, it left behind a single, unshakable truth. The void was no longer empty. It was watching.